Okay, on this episode of the Atlas Life, we're going to talk to a nurse by the name of Lisa Haddix. And Lisa's recruiter, Maggie Hammer, is here to kind of introduce her and tell us how you got in touch with her the first time and where that relationship has gone since then.
All right. Well, Lisa, her and I, we connected right off the bat. It's a little bit of a different story. She actually reached out to me back in August, had just gone through our Atlas profiles online, and said, hey, I'm going to pick the curly-haired girl. So she reached out to me, but one thing that stuck out to me most within that initial email that I received from Lisa was at the very end she had said something along the lines of, I've almost given up all hope and traveling might just not be for me.
Oh, wow.
So I was put to the test there.
Sure.
I had a challenge, and I wanted to, do all that I could to maybe find what it is, or find that, connection, what it is that would make her love traveling.
So what was that connection then? What did you find? Is it just...
It was our connection. As her and I as a recruiter, I've become better friends with her than it is as a professional relationship.
Right.
So, she's so outgoing. She loves to travel. She loves being outdoors. And I honestly believe that she's in this industry for all of the right reasons. It was just finding that connection for her.
Finding that right recruiter.
Yes,
right. And you're actually going to visit her coming up, right?
I am. At the end of March, out in Frisco, Colorado.
Wow.
She actually signed a 6-month contract just because she knew she wanted to get to Colorado so bad. It's right near Keystone. Why wouldn't you want to go for 6 months?
Why wouldn't you want to go there? Right. Especially during the middle of ski season now. That would be awesome. Right. So, excellent. Well, Maggie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Lisa Haddix, welcome to the Atlas Life. Lisa Haddix, welcome to the Atlas Life. It's awesome to have you on today. We just got done talking to your recruiter, Maggie. She kind of told us about how you guys met and why you started traveling. Run me through that. She had mentioned there was an email early on and how you got to Maggie. It's a great story.
Yes, so I have been traveling for about 1.5 years now with other companies and other recruiters, and I just have not had the experience that I thought I was going to have. It had been really hard for me. I had just been struggling with the facilities and with the money and housing and all of that, and I was ready to throw in the towel, to be quite honest, and just either go back home to my where I was working permanently or just start looking for a permanent job. But I was going to give it one more go, so through just knowing other travelers and what you hear on the Facebook group, Atlas, I'd never heard anything negative about. I'd never heard, that was just one of the very few companies that just didn't hear anything bad about. So I did a little bit of research, and I went to the website, and I went to the little recruiter profile website part and saw Maggie's picture. And she's adorable anyway. And she's a friendly face. So I was like, maybe even if she's not my recruiter, maybe she can help me find my recruiter. So I wrote out an email that was basically my cry for help. I think you can hear the desperation in my email. Just that I wanted an assignment that I loved and that went smoothly from start to finish. And thankfully, my first assignment with Atlas has been just that. My very first assignment has been my first assignment in 2 years that I have loved, and it's been so smooth and perfect.
That's awesome. I have a little clip of it here with my notes and stuff. Do you mind if I read just a little clip of it? It's pretty fantastic. And it's nothing embarrassing, obviously, but you actually said, I've almost lost all hope that travel nursing is not for me. I am hoping your company will be able to change that. And it
did.
It did. And here's the thing. I'm not going to take one bit of credit for any of that or anything else. It's the relationship that you have with Maggie, right? That's why it worked.
Yes. I haven't had awful, terrible recruiters in the past, but I've just never had that relationship with my recruiter that I feel like they have my best interest in heart.
Right.
I feel with Maggie that is absolutely the case. We've just gotten so close. Anytime we're catching up or talking, it's just, we can't shut up on either end. We just end up talking forever. So I love it.
And she had actually mentioned I brought it up. She's coming to visit you, right?
Yes. Yeah, she already has her plane trip booked. So
gosh, that is awesome. You two in the mountains in Frisco, Colorado is. I'm gonna need like pictures of you skiing or whatever. That'd be fantastic.
Definitely. We will definitely be having a blast. I'm super excited.
I bet. So then tell me, so we know you're in Frisco now. You just signed, you're there for 6 months. It's coming up here. Like, when's that contract end?
The end date is actually up in the air because they really just need me until the ski season ends, which isn't a specific date as of now. So I'm
Right.
thinking end of April.
Gotcha. Okay. So explain to me how you got to this point, because I think you and we've talked about this previously, and it's this part's super interesting too. Why you started travel nursing?
Oh yeah. So I actually started nursing because I wanted to be a travel nurse. About 10 years ago, I was at a church event, and I was 20 years old at the time. I was at a point in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I met a traveling nurse, and so she was telling me all about her job. And I thought, wow, that's really the way to do it, to get paid to be a traveler.
Right? Yeah.
I think I could be a nurse. I mean, I'm pretty smart, and I think I have like that nurse personality that you need, you know? So that was 10 years ago, and here I am. I mean, basically, I've been living my dream for about a year and a half, finally. It was a long road to get here.
So perseverance, you stuck with it, right? I mean, that's...
Yep, definitely. Nursing school was the hardest thing I think I've ever done, but I'm glad that I went through it. It made me a stronger person, and I've been able to see parts of the country that I've never gotten to see before, and I've made so many friends in this journey, and it's been awesome. As hard as it's been awesome.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a job like anything else, and it's your career, and there's going to be highs and lows, obviously. And you're going to experience that through, if you were a perm staff, or if you were, if you're on the road as a contract travel nurse, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a little different with being a traveler because I don't know. I just feel like when I was at permanent staff, it was easier because it was more family oriented, and they knew you and they knew what you were capable of and maybe what you weren't capable of. And it was just more of a support system. And it's been harder on my journey as a traveler finding that. I found it in Colorado, thankfully, but that's really the first time that I found it, where people don't just automatically assume the worst about you and
right.
prove yourself as a good nurse.
Right. And you have to do that every time. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest parts of all this, right? Is going each different contract. You've got to prove yourself over again.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets hard after like the third or fourth time of just being in a different facility and again, having to do the same thing you just did 3 months ago, which is like, that you're a good nurse, your job, but
right.
I understand where they're coming from because they have clearly not had good experiences with some travel nurses where they just assume the worst. But yeah, that is the hardest part for sure.
I bet. So then what's some of the best things though? I mean, area is one of them, right? I mean, that's being in Frisco right now is beautiful, but you've been in other places too. Like, what are some of the best parts about traveling?
The best parts for me so far have been, I've been lucky enough to have assignments in places that maybe I've lived before, or I have friends that are in the military that I haven't seen in a long time. So like I've been able to go back to those places and, I'm making new friends, but I'm also like rebuilding relationships of friends that I haven't had seen in a while or that I haven't been able to spend time with. And like I have one of my best friends from when we were in diapers I moved to her town for my first assignment, and she had a 4-year-old that I had never even met before.
Oh, wow.
Go back there and just get to know her family and her kids after like 5 years of not even seeing her. So just like, just getting in touch with people that from my past that I haven't seen in a while, and also making new friends.
And making new friends along the way, right? With those new experiences and stuff. So then talk about that a little bit, because I think the experience part is important. Experience not only in the job, but then getting out there on your own and, driving from one assignment to another, finding your own housing, that's got to be tough, right?
Yeah. I was going to say earlier, actually, another part, it kind of goes into what you're asking now, just part of the experience. And what one of the best parts of travel nursing has been for me is I am like a huge music buff. I love like, music and going to live shows. Like that's probably one of my main hobbies is going to see my favorite bands live. And it's been really fun, like tracking them and making, whenever they come close to where I'm staying, like I've been able to go see a few of my favorite bands at different parts of the country.
Awesome.
But yeah, housing has been a challenge, and just like getting out there. I've done it both ways where, you get all this advice from other travelers, like, no, this is the best way, this is the best way. So I've tried both ways where you set up your housing before you get to town without like sight unseen, basically. And I've also tried it where I book a hotel for a week and check it out myself.
Yep.
And I mean, both are hard to do. Like, a couple of them haven't worked out where I've had to find like a different option midway through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be tough. And that's one of the things we suggest is get to town, stay in a hotel for a couple of days, and start checking those places out, right? That has to be one of the biggest headaches and probably one of the toughest parts of the whole journey.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of the reason why I was ready to throw in the towel before Atlas, to be honest. I won't say finding housing up here was easy because we're in ski season right now in the mountains. And so,
right.
I mean, it's a huge destination spot and they hike up the prices crazy. And it's just almost all booked up already. So it was hard, but me and Maggie both looked for 3 days constantly. And we ended up finding a place. And it worked out perfectly. I mean, it was the best scenario, I think.
Good. But 3 days worth of looking and Frisco's not big. I mean, it's a ski town, right? I mean, it's not huge. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tiny little mountain town.
Yeah. So tell me about I have a fun food question because I like different foods and stuff like that, but you had mentioned this before. And so I think this might be fun too. Like best concert you've ever been to. If you like going to concerts, like what's the best one you've ever been to?
The best concert. I mean, I'm a little biased because I got to see my favorite band. Like for the last 20 years of my life, I've loved the band Hanson. And I got to see in Raleigh, North Carolina. But I also love music festivals. And when I was in San Antonio, I got to go to Austin City Limits Music Festival in Austin.
Oh.
It was like I had like 6 of my favorite bands playing in 1 or 2 days. So that was probably my favorite overall in Austin because I had never seen a bunch of those bands live before.
Like who was there? Who was there that time?
St. Paul and the Broken Bones, which I don't know if you've heard of them. Actually, there's a band called Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats who are from Denver. So I'm like closer to their hometown now. We're there. Mumford & Sons.
Oh, yeah.
Who else was there? What is his name? Mike Snow. I had actually just heard about him for the first time at that show, but he's pretty cool. He's, I don't know, just like, what is that band's name? I can't remember. It wasn't Cold War Kids, but it was like similar.
Similar to, like, Snow Patrol, maybe?
Yes. Similar
Snow Patrol.
I can't think of their name for whatever reason, but they have a song called Cough Syrup. Young the Giant.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. I've heard of that festival. I bet that was awesome though. Yeah. So then this is one of the things I enjoy when I'm out on the road is finding different places to eat. Like give me an idea of not just here, maybe in Frisco and then in Colorado, but then give me an idea of like some of the best food you've ever had out on the road.
Well, since I'm also a little biased because I was raised in Texas, well, at least my formative years. And I love Tex-Mex. It's like in my blood.
Yeah. So
after a night of having a little bit too much fun with your friends, the next morning, like having a nice Tex-Mex breakfast, it kind of.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think anybody does barbecue like Texas. That's my favorite place to get barbecue too.
Nice. Barbecue is right up there. So I've always lived in the Midwest. So it's St. Louis style barbecue and Kansas City style barbecue for me. Like Memphis, and they can keep all of that. It's if I want dry rub, I'm going to go St. Louis style. If I want, the more barbecue sauce style, that's Kansas City for me. Yeah. And
I've tried all of those too, but I love, because Texas does I don't know if Kansas City does brisket more. Do they do brisket or is it like pulled pork?
Oh yeah, there's some, but you're right. I mean, I've heard stories of Texas brisket that. Yeah, so that's on my list too. We haven't made it down there much at all. So, and Texas is a great place to start traveling too, right? I mean, that was your first contract, yeah?
Yeah, my first contract was in San Angelo, Texas, which is a tiny little town out in West Texas. And it was an experience because it was a rural hospital, and that was the first rural hospital I had worked at. So even though it was a level 3, we still got level 1 traumas. So that was fun. And then I went to San Antonio, which is where I grew up, in San Antonio. So that was one of the ones I was talking about earlier, how I could go back and hang out with my old friends. And that was a level 1 trauma. So I really learned a lot there.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So then last question is, and I love this question, that's why I keep it till the end. So through your whole career traveling so far, or your nursing career in general too, what's the one lesson that's taken you the longest to learn?
I think the lesson that's taken me the longest to learn has been to enjoy the process, because up until this point, like we mentioned earlier, I was not having the experience that I had always imagined I would, like as a little 20-year-old. I just like had, whether it was like a difficult recruiter or a really just crazy hospital that, you know, just was like a madhouse basically, or, you know, maybe I found housing and there in Charlotte, I had to use my entire stipend on housing, which is not really the reason travel nurses take the stipend. It's to
Sure.
all on housing.
Unless the IRS is listening, and then that's absolutely what you do.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm kidding.
But looking back, like now that I wish it wouldn't have taken this long, because now I'm in a place where I'm reminded I do actually like my job. I love travel nursing. So looking back and reflecting on the last year and a half of all of the struggles that I went through, it really, like, I learned so much as a traveler and as a nurse in general, and even as a person, just working with difficult people, or, you know, putting yourself out there, because, you know, you're traveling alone. So a lot of the times I have to go out and find adventures on myself. So I just think it has shaped me, even though I wasn't really realizing how much it was shaping me. So just enjoying the process along the way. I wish I would have realized that a little earlier.
Well, and you're by no means done, right? I mean, how much longer do you think you're going to travel?
I have no idea, to be completely honest. I mean, I haven't done a beach assignment yet. I want to live by the beach. There's just a few other, like, I would love to live in Chicago for a little while, maybe. I love Chicago. I don't know. I'm not anywhere close to being done yet. So.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep you for as long as you want, right? I mean, as long as you want to keep traveling, we'll be here for you.
Deal.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, have fun out there. It's going to be, you know, I can't wait. I can't wait to see pictures of you and Maggie out skiing.
We'll send you a bunch for sure.
Awesome. Lisa, thank you so much. And we'll see you out there on the road.
All right. Bye.
Bye.